Okay, this is already like attempted murder, no?
Do you have specific footage of him threatening?
I think there's a middle ground. Like, you can obviously defend yourself against crazy homeless dudes, but like the choking out forever is like crazy.
Going through an episode. I
think also, and this is where I would call into question Tim's experience, as cucked as Lance is, and I don't even know if Lance has the experience here, this is gonna sound really weird. And I commit, I might be wrong.
Three men then said this man must be subdued, and they subdued him. And then the guy died.
Destiny is so wrong on this one. Punches are so much more deadly than chokes. First of all, one punch is probably not as might be more deadly than a 5-second choke, but one punch is probably never going to be as deadly as a 5-minute choke. I don't know anything about this. I saw the Marine got charged with a homicide. Oh, real quick, link me that video. I need to watch this video. Marine kills subway. Was it on the subway? Please tell me there's a longer video clip than this, than one that starts with this. The video is around 3 minutes, but the alleged victim is going to choke up for 15 minutes. Well, okay, this is already like attempted murder, no? I feel like I've seen enough. I'm pretty sure that this type of chokehold, I'm pretty sure this type of chokehold will get a person to pass out in like 8 seconds or less. Like 4 seconds. How are we 18 seconds in and he's got him, and he's got like a good, he's like arm around the neck, wrist secured. This is like, depending on how everything going, this could be like 3 to 4 seconds and the dude is out. We're 18 seconds deep in and he's still got him here. About 10 seconds, if applied properly, I'm almost positive you can get somebody to go black out in like less than 5 seconds. It's not 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a long time. Pretty sure in less than 5 seconds, you get somebody to drop like this. Holy shit. This looks bad, but the guy can't see his face. It doesn't matter if he can't see his face. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, well, he's just like murdering the guy. Like, that's it. He did it for like 10 minutes. Yeah, that's like, it's insane. Woody getting choked out by an MMA fighter.
I'm Woody's gamer tag, and I'm about to get choked out. Clothes on, and go. That's like, yeah, I'm not doing it. Send him out. That won't happen. All right. Okay.
Put your hand up. He's out.
Yeah, Jesus.
No. He's out. He's
okay.
Yeah.
I got him. I got him.
What's your gamer tag or ID?
It's Woody's gamer tag. I forgot what we were doing.
There was that one where the wrestlers did it on stage to the one dude too. Who's the guy who hates Hulk Hogan? We've seen this before.
How about I need to know about amateur wrestling? Yes. Or professional wrestling.
So I think this guy, I forget his name. He's a famous actor, but he had a history of like shitting on wrestlers or whatever. And I think Hulk Hogan, was doing this intention to fuck with him.
You just tell me, brother, when you want him to quit squealing, okay? All right. Called a front chin lock. How about it, T?
Keep him like that for a little while.
When did he start this? Hold on.
Called a front chin lock.
Okay, so at about 40 seconds, he started it.
How about it, T?
Keep him like that for a little while.
And then he's out at about 46 seconds, like 6 seconds. And he drops him.
He's all right. He's just sleeping. He's sleeping. Really. Yes.
Somebody asked, what if the guy didn't know?
The effort to
My assumption is going to be, and I think it's a fair assumption. my assumption is going to be is that if you know how to get a guy in a lock like this and you apply it, you probably know what you're doing. Now, if people are saying he's a Marine, then he definitely knows what he's doing. I don't think you can plead ignorance here. I don't know what the... It's super dependent on if the other person's struggling. I mean, like... Does it look like he's struggling? Oh, maybe a little bit? I can't tell because of the fucking horrible camera angle. Destiny, it's a blood choke, which means you can hold it for a decent while until you kill them. Well, no blood to the brain, I think, can start to cause brain damage anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on. So, I mean, like, but there's also other complications that could happen as well, right? If you cause somebody to pass out, there are other, like, peripheral things, like high blood pressure or bad position of the neck and the tongue or whatever, that could cause other issues too, right? But even so, I don't think that, and I could be wrong, but somebody can, I don't think I'm wrong on this. I don't think anybody that's trained in doing chokes like this has ever been told to hold it for more than like 30 seconds. Like that's like wild. And if somebody's telling me this was like 10 minutes in this position, that's insane. How long did he allegedly hold the choke? People were saying 10 to 15 minutes, but... What was going on? I wish I knew what was happening before the video, though, was posted. Like I said, the guy was just shouting crazy stuff. Oh, he probably doesn't have this. He doesn't have a clean application. But I don't know why he doesn't take time here. I mean, personally, I don't know if it's a good idea to try to choke somebody out like this. But if you're going to, why not like reapply? Why not try to get like a cleaner hold? Like why just sit here? Because the guy's not going anywhere. Like he's pretty... Survey said he's aggressively begging people for money, food, and getting people's faces. Sure, which might be enough of a reason to beat the guy up, maybe, if he's like getting really aggressive with you, but...
Where are the cops? The cops?
Oh, the guy is still struggling a lot. But like, what is he even... Like, what are we doing here? What's the plan here? What's the goal here? Wait for the cops? I don't think you hold somebody in a choke like this for 15 minutes waiting for the cops, my dude. Like, especially when you've got this many other people to like restrain him and hold him down. Like there are other options here. Like, what are we doing here? He doesn't look like he's moving at all. Why is he still in this choke? Like, he still has it? Is this guy even like... Oh, now he's moving? Is he dead? True, you're supposed to put him on the side. Don't put him on the back. You could choke on his tongue or other things. I'm so curious how long they were in... Oh wait, was he moving there? Or no, this guy was moving him. Wait, what's going on here? Well, because it looks like here, it looks like he's moving here. I don't think he could go from 120 to 230, even though this is a really long application of this. I don't think you should die in less than 2 minutes, right? Isn't it 5 minutes without oxygen to the brain? Or like 3, 4, 5 minutes without oxygen to the brain is when brain damage begins to occur? You shouldn't die in like 2 minutes here, right? Unless it was the other guy moving him. That's what I can't tell either. Like what's like right here, it looks like the guy being restrained is the one moving. Right? That's what it looks like. So I don't know how he can go from moving here. His shit chokehold just crushed his windpipe? Oh, maybe. Okay, people keep saying no oxygen to brain can kill in a few minutes. Is it? Actually, I can just look this up. You can die from one 1 minute choke? It needs a complication. How long oxygen, no brain for brain damage? Brain can withstand 3 to 6 minutes without oxygen. I don't know why people say you can die in 1 minute. I don't think you can die in 1 minute. Oh, it's so clear that Destiny's never killed a man with his bare hands before. True.
Do him. The guy died. It was ruled a homicide, and now you have protests.
Google blood choke versus air choke. Why do you think I need to Google the difference between those two, and what difference do you think it makes here? Right? If you're talking about somebody passing out in seconds, you're talking about a blood choke. But both, like blood and air, like a blood choke is preventing oxygen from getting to the brain. That's why blood goes to your brain, you fucking retard, is to deliver oxygen. Autopsy has already been performed. Jesus. Could have been on drugs too? Maybe, yeah.
What do we want? Justice! What do we want?
Why the fuck is this like a big thing? A guy got killed and he shouldn't have, but it sounds like the guy that got killed was a piece of shit. Are we gonna like George Floyd this dude too? Or I'm making assumptions based on what I see on chat. That could not be the case. It doesn't seem like there was any good reason for the Marine guy to kill him. Regardless of the guy's criminal record, it doesn't seem like there was a good reason for the Marine guy to kill him. The only questions I have are, one, what was the guy doing before that 3 people felt the need to restrain him? And 2, it seems strange that the guy seemed to die in like 1.5 minutes from movement to no movement. That seems like pretty wild to me. Man killed Subway. Can I find information on this? Let's see. New York Post would have it. Oh, damn. Wait, who? So is there no information about this guy released yet? We should, if RTBA is bored, you can go back and permaban everybody that said that if they're just making shit up. Wait, hold on. Jordan Neely's criminal record. Man killed on Subway had 42 prior arrests. Jesus. Between 2013 and 2021, they included 4 for alleged assault, while others involved accusations of transit fraud and criminal trespass. Oh boy, how is Lance going to try to do
calling for charges of this Marine. All right, here's the story. We got this ABC 7 New York police issue call for help. Outrage continues to grow over deadly subway chokehold encounter. So the death of a subway rider who was put into a chokehold by a former Marine on the train has been ruled a homicide, and now activists are calling for charges to be filed. They have planned several protests and rallies on Thursday as the NYPD has issued a call for public help in their investigation. Jordan Neely, 30, died from a compression of the neck that the city's medical examiner determined Wednesday. Neely is recognizable to some New Yorkers as a Michael Jackson impersonator who regularly danced in Times Square transit hub. On Monday afternoon, he was yelling and pacing back and forth on an F train in Manhattan. Witnesses and police said when he was restrained by at least 3 people, including a U.S. Marine veteran who pulled one arm tightly around his neck. A physical struggle ensued, leading to Neely losing consciousness. He was rushed to Lenox Hill Hospital where he was pronounced dead. On Wednesday, a medical exam determined Neely's his death was a homicide. However, that does not mean the case will be prosecuted as a homicide. Okay, that's the stupidest bit of writing I've ever heard. As a murder, they mean. Homicide means death caused by person. It doesn't mean criminal. So what they're trying to say is, though the death was ruled a homicide, it does not mean the case will be prosecuted as a murder. That is up to the Manhattan DA's office, which is investigating. But I suppose I'm probably being a little bit too harsh because you can. They're not being clear here. You can make the argument there's reckless homicide, there's negligent homicide, and so what they're saying is it's not clear that he will be criminally charged. They probably just should have said. They're going to say, as a part of our rigorous ongoing investigation, we'll review the medical examiner's report, assess all available video and photo footage, identify and interview as many witnesses as possible, and obtain additional medical records. Read a statement from a spokesperson for the DA. So we've got video coming out of New York. Protesters, I believe this was yesterday, were seen in the streets, and the police made some arrests. And we'll get into it in a little bit. But one of our reporters, Eliyahu, was physically assaulted by one of the protesters and had his property destroyed while he was in the process of doing journalism. But let's just former and his mental health 67-year-old woman in the face. And so as he was belligerent on the hold, everyone called 911. AOC, she's an example of what is described as narco-tyranny, in that you had 25 people pushed onto subway tracks in the past year. You've had, if you go back now, there's all of a sudden calls for, okay, so this guy should be criminally charged, but there was no call for stopping the 25 people being pushed on subway tracks. That's an ongoing and acceptable thing.
I'm never going to sit here and try to defend people pushing people on subway tracks. That's a crime. Like, that's terrible.
That's murder.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if they die. So that's horrible. No one's going to be on the other side of that argument. But in terms of like the guy who just got killed, isn't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, doesn't in self-defense the proportionality of what you're doing has to be in response to the actual aggressive actions of the person, right? It has to be proportional. Is that correct? So you feel in your mind that it was a proportional response for him to choke him out to death in that situation because he was going to become such a threat to the person who choked him out.
But you made a big leap right there.
What's the leap?
You're ascribing intent to the Marine to kill.
Oh, I'm not saying he intended to kill him. I never said that, but he did end up killing him, right?
But
what has to be material? Tim, has to be. Is he doing what he's doing?
Proportionality argument, or are you making?
Yes, I'm asking you that because is what he did proportional to the threat?
Yes.
So the threat that he was going to do.
It is proportional to subdue someone that is threatening other people and saying he'll die in the process.
And end up killing them, even if that was.
So subdue is doing a lot of work there. You can subdue somebody by shooting them in the head with a 45. But I mean, what do we mean by subdue?
See, now you're doing it again. You're ascribing intent.
No, I'm not ascribing intent. I'm saying the results. This is what happened. The guy's dead. He's dead.
Results are immaterial to the proportionality of action.
So the proportionality of action in your mind was justified for what he was doing. His actual actions.
He held the guy on the ground while I said call 911.
Killed him. And choked him until he died.
You're doing it again.
No, you keep saying I'm doing it again. I'm saying this is the end results. I'm not saying this is what he meant to do. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't know what's in his heart. Neither do you. None of us know what he meant to do that day when we woke up.
Absolutely. If someone is threatening other people, you are allowed to subdue them.
And there would be like an involuntary manslaughter.
So
no, but this is what happened. It's to the point of death. So you have.
It's not a criminal.
I'm not saying he intended to kill him. That's the difference, right? But if he ended up dying as a result of that, was that proportional?
Yes.
He needed to be killed.
No.
Or he could have killed someone else.
Hold on. Stop that. You keep trying to say needed to be. No. But
that's what happened.
The Marine.
That's the end result.
You're saying the Marine tried to kill him.
No, I didn't say that.
Then why
you were saying that. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm saying that's what ended up happening.
Let me respond. Then why would you say needed to be killed?
Because what he did to him, his chokeout ended up with the guy dying. So that was the end result. So his proportional response to what he thought was a threat was that I'm going to choke him out. I'm not trying to kill him, but I'm going to choke him out. Whether or not he dies is going to be something that we're just going to remain to be on the cards, right? This is a chance. We'll leave it up to chance.
So you are making a huge leap right there.
There's no leap, Tim. What he's doing is that proportional. Is choking someone with the possibility of death. With the possibility of death.
Yes, absolutely. I'll say this. Let me tell you. So if someone tried illegally entering my home, I will use whatever force necessary to stop them from illegally entering my home. Right? I have the legal justification in the state that I live in to use whatever force necessary to stop someone from entering my home illegally. Now you can't invite someone in, and there's actually some legal barriers here. Like if someone actually walks up to your house and the door is open and they walk in, that's actually not an illegal entry. It is to a certain degree, but it's like trespass. It's like your door was open, there was no obstruction, and then you'll make an argument about entering the domicile could be considered fourth-degree burglary, depending on which state you're in. If they actually open the door and enter, they've now committed felony burglary, and you are entitled in West Virginia to use whatever force necessary to stop someone from illegally entering your house. That doesn't mean you just intend to actually kill someone. So in terms of we're out in the street, someone is threatening someone else. You are legally entitled to subdue them. Now,
even if that's even the act of doing that, you can kill them.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because where you're going with it is like, what act of subduing would be permitted in your mind then? Like holding his hands tightly?
One that doesn't have a possibility of death, I would say. Because
give me one in your martial arts expertise.
Zero, absolutely zero.
Okay, so
I think I can keep it.
Oh no, not zero, Lance. We're starting off strong. Not zero, Lance. You got to be able to do something to the guy.
No one here has any, right? Am I in a judo room?
I just watched a lot of movies.
No, but
sharp elbows.
but no, none of us have black belts. We don't know this shit. We're just people who talk on the internet,
right? Going black belts. I mean, I have hostile environment training, and I have some minimal martial arts training. Minimal. I've done some kung fu, taekwondo.
So once again, there's no experts here to talk about this.
Yeah. So certainly will contend I'm not an expert. However, if someone is threatening harm against another person, and 3 people find it reasonable to subdue him, and the person dies, that person was in the process of committing a crime. If you lose your life.
Oh, he's saying zero experience. Yeah, sorry.
In the process of committing a crime, I'm not going to blame the victims for this, right? Would you blame the victims for this?
When you're saying victims, you mean the people who killed him?
The people who were being attacked.
But were they attacked prior, or did they try to subdue him? So do we have footage before?
No, so in New York, for example, if you go up to someone and threaten them, you've committed a crime, right? You've committed a criminal act of violence against another person by threatening them and going up to their face. Right?
And so you're saying at that point you have the ability to proportionally respond with violence.
Yeah, actually, there's a video of this. Myth Informed has it. 7 years ago, this man was called a hero for diffusing violence by putting another man in a chokehold. A man in the subway was getting up in people's faces, and he was threatening them, and another man got up behind him and put him in a chokehold, and he was put on national television, and he was celebrated as a hero for doing so. So this is what I'm talking about, narco-tyranny. I feel like you're latching onto this completely from a point of, you don't have knowledge on proper technique for subduing an individual, nor the legal expertise. But see that's kind of an absurd thing to just outright. Well, look, I'm going to say this guy committed a murder and should go to prison, but I'm an expert, and neither are you. Therefore, he should be.
I never said that. I'm actually asking questions because these are things that I don't fully understand about. Is it legal for him to do what he did?
Yes, that's why he wasn't charged.
Proportionally legal.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why he wasn't charged. He was released. However, in this day and
Oh no. Okay, just because you don't get charged with something absolutely does not mean that what you did was legal or illegal. There are a plethora of reasons why somebody might charge you or not charge you at a given time. The fact that you're allowed to walk on something just means that at that particular point in time, police didn't feel like they had the evidence to charge you, right? That is absolutely not true that just because you walk from a particular crime scene with a cop there, that you're 100% in the clear. That is completely wrong.
what's likely going to happen is a narco-tyranny. People go out in the streets, they protest, and the police say, for political reasons, we're going to go find this guy and we're going to arrest him.
But I don't know, it depends. Unfortunately, we don't have footage of what happened before the chokehold.
That's what I'd like to know.
But if there's enough people on the train that are witness to what was happening, and they're like, yo, he was threatening all of us, then I think the cops are not going to mess with that guy.
And that's what was reported. And there were 3 men trying to subdue him as he fought back. So there's no debate that this guy was acting violently and threatening people, and even said he was prepared to die.
Yeah, but there's got to be some proportional level response when it comes to self-defense, right? Like, this guy behind him looks strong. No offense to the homeless dude, but this homeless dude is looking pretty lanky here. This guy doesn't look like he's a fucking shredded dude. He looks thin as fuck. You've got 3 full-grown men here. Is this guy really representing so much of a challenge that we need to, like, fucking, you know, MI6 James Bond lock this dude's neck and hold him on the ground for 5 or 10 minutes? Like, I don't think I'm buying that. He won't take offense, he's dead. Good, true.
At that point, you have what could be a terroristic threat. I think if a guy got on the train and screamed, "I'm going to cause harm to people," and then said he was willing to die, you'd probably want to stop him, because there's signs all over the subway saying, if you see something, say something. And I suppose we could go the route of when Luke Rudkowski had that video, there was a guy in a subway with a knife stabbing people, and the cop said, we're not going to get involved at all. And then some guy had to try and intervene himself. It's funny, that guy's a hero.
Yeah, that was, I think, oh yeah, here it is. Matt Walsh retweeted Alexandria Cortez's tweet from 6 hours ago and asking specifically, what are they supposed to do? What are people supposed to do in this situation? Are they just supposed to sit there? If someone's screaming, they're gonna hurt somebody? You just sit there and wait until they actually hurts the person, and then you respond?
And I'm just curious, you know, honest question. We have a story from the Daily Mail from October. 25 victims have been shoved in front of subway cars so far this year. 2 victims were killed. Where was the protest?
Well, you know, where was the video footage of it?
There is video footage of it.
Is it public?
Yes.
What about the police that need 7 people to subdue 1 person? Have you talked about how it is to get somebody to do something they don't want to do? I mean, like, if you're trying to get somebody to cooperate, and you're like a police officer and trying to move somebody from an area to another, sure. But if you're just trying to, like, subdue a person, and you don't give a fuck, which ideally in a one-on-one situation you probably don't give a fuck, right? I mean, I feel like one big guy could do it, or a couple people do it. The thing where it gets hard is like shoving somebody like into a car or getting handcuffs on somebody. It can be really hard if people are resisting. But like, these guys are just trying to get this dude to fuck off, you know? I don't know.
Public video footage?
And I can't play it on YouTube. But yo, there's video footage of people being pushed in front of trains. And where's AOC? Where's any of these protesters? Nowhere to be found. An narco-tyranny of trains. And where's AOC? Where's any of these protesters? Nowhere to be found. An narco-tyranny is that when the criminals do it.
With a rear naked choke, you have to purposely apply pressure. It's super easy to not apply pressure when the guy's complying, then ratchet up the person. Maybe a movement, but here's like a couple things that could fuck with that. One is, I'm making a lot of guesses here, but one is, it's probably easy to apply pressure and let go of pressure when you're on a mat. You're both wearing like normal gear and you're training and you've got like a whatever. But when you're like crunched up in subway seats and there's like 2 other people like kind of crawling on you and who knows who the is moving, my guess is going to be that in that situation, it's probably a lot harder to, 1, even realize who the is moving, and then 2, even realize how much of a grip you've got on him. And then the communication process there is probably a lot more, it's probably a lot more difficult, would be my guess.
As explained in, was it Sultan?
Because it's not like they're just like cleanly rolling around on mats. These guys are like crunched under like fucking seats and shit. I don't know if anybody has the like there's like a fucking pole here. There's another guy sitting on top of him. I guess this guy's not doing anything. Like my guess is it's probably gonna be a lot more like what the fuck is going on here maybe then, yeah, because like right here I don't even know if this guy is actually moving or if it's like other people that are moving his hand. I don't know if he knows if this guy's moving or if other people are moving his hand. It's hard to tell just by looking at it, or if the guy's just like death rattling, you know. I have no idea. And again, yeah, like I think I can understand this for like 30 seconds, which is probably too long, but if this is happening for like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 minutes, like nah, that's too much.
the Gulag Archipelago, when a criminal does this act in the Soviet Union, that's just a criminal, that's what they do. But when you, the citizen, defend yourself, you knew better.
But so you're blaming AOC for not bringing attention to this specifically? So as in,
Blaming?
or are you saying that
I'm
she's hypocritical? Because she doesn't talk about the people being pushed in front of trains, but she's talking about this now? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying hypocritical. No, I'm saying I have a question of why now? Why only when people are victimized and they defend themselves are we now upset about what happened on the subway?
Victimized.
The correct answer here is that everybody recognizes that people pushing people in front of trains is probably wrong, but it seems like we have major disagreements about if you can kill people in self-defense. And then there's the homeless aspect of it too, right? That'd be my guess. I don't know how Tim would respond to that, but...
As we're talking about a poor homeless person who may have been having an episode...
Do you think the outrage has to do with the race of the victim being black and the suspect being white? Absolutely! You guys all forgot about it. And nobody cares. But one of the most insane fucking videos that I remember watching recently was the, was it 5 cops that had some dude just like kneel down and were beating the shit out of him? There were like 4 videos released on the street. Do you guys remember that? Am I crazy? I feel like I watched this video months ago. I feel like we forgot about that in 2 days. That guy would have been George Floyd fucking version Alpha Omega 7.0 if it was white cops and that dude got killed. But because it was 5 black cops, nobody gave a fuck. That video is probably one of the craziest cop killing videos I've seen. I've seen a lot of fucking execution videos. That video is crazy. The dude, I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering right, the dude was like literally just like on his knees and they were just like beating the shit out of him. It was crazy. And it was 5. Oh, that went all over the place. I live in Memphis and it's still being talked about locally. That's cool. They still talk about it in Memphis, but I'm pretty sure nationally we don't give a f. I don't know. I feel like if even 2 of the cops would have been white, I feel like that would have been a way bigger conversation. But they stood him up to punch him on the face. Yeah, that was wild. I feel like we moved on from that hella fast, but I feel like because it was black cops and a black victim, we didn't care as much. A lot of people cared about it. It was on one of my exams in Canada. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, this was the page.
Watch out! My car.
Did this guy end up dying like at the scene, or was it later, or? Yeah, I saw a few people try to do the like they're all brainwashed by like white supremacy or whatever. This is like literally some training day shit. Like some Denzel Washington. The fact that they were charged quickly plays a major role too. I could be wrong, but wasn't Derek Chauvin, wasn't he charged with, was it the day after? How long after did Derek Chauvin get charged? Was it after the riots? Well, but the riots happened like immediately, right? Maybe it might have been within like 2 or 3 days. Okay, I'm sorry. It was 4 days. So 25th is when he gets killed, 29th is when Chauvin is arrested. So day 3 or day 4. Tried ChatGPT for those prompts, yeah.
And died in what like ended up being the struggle. That's so. Why are the people who were subduing him victims? What makes them victims?
He assaulted them.
So you have that on camera that he assaulted them first.
According to all the news reports and the police and the witness statements.
Can we see the footage? I haven't seen that yet.
I think we can show the choke out.
Okay, so according to the news reports, the witnesses and the police, he went and threatened violence against people, which is assault. And
right, but you're saying he specifically threatened violence against the people who subdued him. Do we have evidence of that? I mean, it's one thing for him to be in a train being like, I'm upset.
You're not winning an argument here.
I'm not trying to win an argument.
You're being awfully pedantic.
Awfully pedantic?
Yes.
Why would you use pedantic in this form? As in, like, I'm trying to get to the root of this problem.
No, it's absurd to imply that if a guy walks up to a woman and says he's going to harm her, that another man can't protect her.
Right, and so this is why I'm asking.
That is absolutely the case. You can't come onto a train where people are like, oh, that guy's been threatening people, and you're like, I'm gonna take him out. You absolutely can't do that. He has to represent some sort of like clear and imminent danger to somebody. You can't just walk in and be like, oh, that guy threatened him? I'll take care of it, chief. Like, at the very least, he needs to like sit there and you need to witness it firsthand, right? Like,
did he say to the people who subdued him, I'm going to harm you? I'm going to hurt you?
That's immaterial to a self-defense claim in proportionality.
Okay.
If this guy was threatening people, right, and then someone said, I'm going to stop you before you hurt someone, that is legal self-defense acting in the defense of others.
Sure, but we need to see that. I don't know if we know that. I feel like I can't even take a position on this because you fucking retards are about to start typing my subreddit. The fact that I just said that. God, I'm so actually traumatized about it. Okay, I'm gonna go, Jim.
That makes those people who are stopping the guy threatening people the victims of a violent individual who's trying to cause harm. I just find it fascinating that there's
Well, this guy lives on the train. They were trespassing in his home. True.
effort to defend the aggressor in this circumstance, right?
Oh, so you're suggesting that the guys, even if the guys that were choking out weren't the ones being threatened, that they're still considered a victim because they stepped in to defend other people?
Well, I'm saying outright that if you're on a train and there's a guy, you're on a train, you can't get off that train. You are trapped.
Yeah,
right?
I used to live in this area, buddy. I used to live in Flatbush. I used to.
Okay, but the people were literally getting on and off the train, weren't they? Wasn't this train stopped? Am I wrong? It's the New York subway. They said this is going on for 8 minutes. How long is the... How long is it between stops? I assume this was, I assume the train is stopped, but maybe it's not. It might be moving right now. I'm not sure. Oh, the guy, yeah, I thought I saw the guy step outside the train when he was filming. Okay, so it's not like people are like trapped with this guy right now.
I used to take these trains every single day. I've seen this and worse. I've seen people in the middle of episodes where I was like, this person could potentially either harm themselves or harm me. It never crossed my mind that I need to choke them out to the point of potential death in order to protect everyone else on the train. That never even entered my mind. So that's why I'm asking you, do you have specific footage of him threatening?
I think there's a middle ground. Like, you can obviously defend yourself against crazy homeless dudes, but like the choking out forever is like crazy.
In the very people who subdued and ended up killing them.
But why does that matter?
I don't think there is footage.
What is it?
All right, well then that's all I want to know.
But what does that have to do with what I said? That's why I understand your thought.
Because I would think that the proportionality being that you ended up killing them, even if that was not your intent, I understand that you don't think he intended to do that, fine. But even if that was it, were they like threats to him in the immediate present? Were they on the verge of committing an act of violence towards him that required proportional violence that ended up in death?
But it's not a requirement someone threatens you for you to act in defense of others.
That's not what Lance is saying.
So your question is kind of in an unnecessary direction. And I'll elaborate. If you're on a train and you're trapped in a box and someone is threatening violence, then yeah, you're a victim. Because
so I've been a victim multiple times then. I was in these subways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the craziest thing to me.
I don't feel like a victim. I've never been hurt. I never was hurt by people who were.
Oh, this is such a cucked line of argumentation from Lance, I think.
So those kind of
other people have been.
I'm not saying they haven't. I'm not saying this is
25 people were pushed in front of trains.
Okay, so these 25 people were pushed in front of trains. How is that directly related? Were these people also going through episodes? Were they also people who were homeless? Did they have mental illness?
I would say anybody shoving someone in front of a train at random is like going through an episode.
I think also, and this is where I would call into question Tim's experience, as cucked as Lance is, and I don't even know if Lance has the experience here, this is going to sound really weird. And I commit, I might be wrong, but I've spent some decent amount of time near homeless people. A homeless person can walk up to you and scream at you and say, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you fucking bitch. And 99% of the time, they're probably just gonna say that and keep walking, because the homeless people that are screaming shit like that are fucking crazy. Now, they might do something to some people. I admit that I haven't spent a lot of time in major cities around homeless people, but I've been in a lot of major cities and I've been around a lot of homeless people, and I've seen a lot of homeless people that are crazy and scream. And normally what they do is they fucking scream at you and they're crazy, and then they just keep walking. They're kind of like zombies sometimes in is it The Walking Dead? What am I thinking of? There's some zombie game I play where sometimes like the monsters that come next to you like, ah! And then they just like keep walking. That's most of my encounters with homeless people. If you were to kill every single homeless person that was like screaming at you or saying they're gonna kill you, you'd be killing a lot of homeless people.
You know what I mean? The correlation is that crime and murder on the subway has been increasing, or has at least been apparent in the press, but I don't see you caring about it at all.
Yeah, they do sometimes, Destiny. I saw someone get stabbed like that randomly. Yeah, that's true too. Maybe 1 out of 100 times somebody does like stab somebody though, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Until it's the aggressor who gets killed.
No one, I think, on the left is going to defend this stat that you're pulling.
Then why put a guy in prison for finally saying stop killing people?
This is like, Tim, if I approached you today and I was like, hey, do you know what goes on in Rikers Island? Have any of you done a show on what happens in Rikers Island? How they hold people in Rikers Island? Do you know
not Rikers Island specifically, but we talk about prison reform all the time.
Okay, do you know about bail reform and the fact that people die in Rikers Island waiting to have their day in court because they can't afford it?
And we talked about it.
And you've done entire shows on that. And we talked about how people literally die in prison while they're waiting for that shit.
We talked
That's
about
terrible.
Okay, so we actually talked about one guy who got wrongly arrested, lost his job, was kicked out of his apartment, went to Rikers for 3 months, only to be released and then told, sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. The city owes him nothing because they consider the prosecution not to be malicious. But this is the problem, man. Like, we talk about stuff like this all the time.
But the example you just gave me was not me talking about the systemic problem of people who are poor being in Rikers Island before they get...
Tim is just really good at like controlling a conversation. You've got to be very, very, very on your toes, because he's just very crafty. This is what I mean. He'll take the reins on a conversation hardcore and like drive you around to places.
To trial. They die before they're not released. You just gave me a story of someone who was released prior to that. I'm giving you an example
of a specific show we've actually talked about someone wrongly held and had their life destroyed.
Okay.
Now, of course, we can go on further and say, yes, people have died. Yes, the system is corrupt. And my point is this. When we talk about stuff like this, like, wow, in October, we talked about 25 people being pushed in front of train cars. You guys just shit all over us and ignore these problems. Then finally, when 3 guys...
ignoring this. I told you no one's on the other side of this. No, Everyone is pro push people onto trains.
Where's your protest? Where's your protest?
Where's my protest?
Yeah, where's your protest?
Where's your Rikers protest?
We had it on the show, but you don't
did
watch
a
the
protest.
show.
You did an actual protest. You guys stood up and then walked to the streets.
We don't go on the streets ever.
But
Right?
I'm not blaming you for not talking about it, Tim, because this is the problem of like you are judging someone based on absence, based on your absence of caring about something. Why haven't you talked about this, Lance? The fact that you haven't talked about this means that you don't care about that. That's not true, though. That's the implication of what you're saying right now.
My implication is, instead of helping us deal with this when we talk about it, you make up garbage about us and then post nonsense on the internet.
When have I brought up garbage about people pushing people to trains? This is the most random
I'm not
example.
talking about you saying, I'm saying you don't talk about it, right? I'm not criticizing you for not talking about it. I'm saying finally, when there are people who are like, we've had 25 people push in front of trains, we've had 2 of them killed, I'm not gonna let this person hurt somebody, it's y'all saying that person should go to prison. So how is that solving the problem? You guys are making it worse. Your protests, your support for the criminals make this worse.
So our solution to this, if you're asking, when you're saying you mean the left, right? Our solution to a lot of this...
You're speaking in support of the criminal, so I'm saying you.
Okay, so I am saying that the solution to a lot of this would be investing very heavily in things like healthcare, like getting and making sure that people have access to it, and not cutting the restrictions, like allowing people to have access to healthcare, not as a requirement based on how much money they have, based on their income, but allowing them to get the care they need. That would have gone a long way to preventing a problem like this and future problems that are going to happen. I have no idea what's going on with the 25 people who've been pushed in front of trains. If it happens to be because people have mental illness, this is a tangible solution that we can work towards. This is something that are you against that idea about investing heavily into mental health care, public health care? Well, then there you go. So that's a much better line.
So here's
right?
my issue. My issue is when this story came out in October, we talked about it. And we said, why is this happening? What are the solutions? What are the problems? When this story comes out now, you, completely ignorant of what's been going on in New York, side with the criminal. And so people like me are flabbergasted that we've been focused on the issue of crime, the issue of mental health, the entire time, going back several years. And this is why I left in New York, because 2 cops got murdered outside of my apartment. And then what do we hear? Protesters in the street defending the criminals.
You keep saying criminal. I have a problem with criminalizing people who are homeless.
All the people who have pushed people on tracks have been charged. He just makes shit up. Oh, suspect charged. Woman dies after being pushed on subway tracks in Times Square. Charges on the man were being prepared. Subway shows. Oh, Control F, charge. See, it faces manslaughter charges. This is being
or people who are poor or people who are mentally ill. And then suddenly...
I'm not saying he's a criminal for being poor. I'm saying he's a criminal because he threatened people with harm. Like incitement to violence is a crime, just like AOC says, right?
I really want to see the start of this video footage. I want to see the moment where he was threatening the very people who tried to take him down.
Look, either you accept that the witnesses, the media, and the police say this is what happened, or we can agree. No one has any idea, so there's no point even talking about it.
I think the interesting maybe confluence is that you were mentioning preventative measures are a way to go about it. What do you think about defensive measures? Like people should be armed and ready for this kind of thing regardless of the prevention methods?
I mean, when it comes to defensive measures and people should be armed, I'm going to probably be on the exact opposite as the rest of you, because you're probably very pro-gun here, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just making, we don't have the same problems in Canada that you do in the United States for mass shootings, for mass gun violence, for that kind of stuff.
You have 30 million people, don't you? Is it 30 million?
Okay, so by ratio of the population, Tim. So if you compare ratio of the population, Canadians to America, we don't have mass shootings like you do. No one else does. It's a uniquely American problem. The mass shooting thing is a uniquely American problem.
Obesity is pretty heavy here.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say uniquely American because there are mass shootings in many other countries.
Oh, there is, but it's a uniquely American problem that it's disproportionately happening here.
Well, mass killings aren't a uniquely American problem, but mass killings done with the use of firearms is much more uniquely American. I don't think anyone's going to debate that countries that have fewer firearms are going to have fewer people killing each other with firearms. It then becomes a
Australia has more per capita than the United States? Is that
per capita?
That is not true. No country comes close to the United States.
List of countries by... No, okay, I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
Sorry,
El Salvador, Venezuela.
Yeah, so is it right if I just finish my thought?
Sure.
Yeah. So my basic point
that was way off. The United States is not the most. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th.
El Salvador.
Okay, but who are you comparing yourself there to, Tim?
That was way off.
El Salvador, Venezuela? I don't even know where the fuck this country is. Jamaica? Honduras? Guatemala, Brazil, these are the places, Colombia, these are who we're comparing ourselves to. Why do people always do this shit? Like, let's look at some of the most crime-ridden, fucked places. Like, we're doing better than Haiti. Like, bro, I hate it when people do this. What about other, like, OECD countries, okay? What about, like, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Italy? Like, why don't we compare ourselves to countries that we should probably be more on par with? It's so crazy. Ugh.
The United States is not the most. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th.
El Salvador. And so of all the other countries in that list, which of them are considered part of the G20? You have to compare countries that have similar economic systems.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you.
Like societal, structures. The United States places number 1 when you compare them to any other G20 country.
Yeah, no, so it's true that as far as developed nations go, the United States does have a much higher rate of gun violence. I don't deny that. My argument is simply that other nations do have higher rates. Depending on the nation that you're looking at, there's still a pretty decently high homicide rate in a lot of developed countries, and there are a lot of...
That's like saying working out isn't a good way of building muscle. And it's like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, I know a 92-year-old dude with cancer, when he works out, he doesn't build muscle. It's like, okay, what about other 30-year-old healthy men? Okay, fine, yeah, but I'm just trying to say that, like, working out doesn't build muscle for everybody. Like, no fucking shit, Sherlock. Like, why the fuck? Like Lance said, either compare yourself to OECD countries, compare yourself to G20 countries. Why are we comparing ourselves to fucking, no offense, Guatemala, Colombia, Brazil? Like, come on. Like, these places, some of these places have reputations for being very, very, very rough places. With the United States, we should be able to do better.
mass killings. In the United States, those mass killings are generally carried out with firearms, but according to CDC studies, firearms are used to prevent more violent crimes each year than they're used to commit. So it's a much more complex argument than simply saying the U.S. has more firearm deaths, therefore restricting firearm ownership would prevent those.
Let me ask you too. Do you know what country has the most grenade attacks?
I only know the answer because
He's going to say Sweden.
Right. Sweden, right?
I actually didn't type that in. I searched for
By the way, decently
have no
high
idea.
murder rate was a very clumsy.
I don't want to cheat, so I saw you typing it, but yeah.
I didn't type in Sweden. I typed in most grenade attacks by country, and Sweden is the only thing that comes up.
Wow.
And yeah, Sweden has more grenade attacks than any other country, but grenades are illegal there.
Okay.
I've got a feeling.
Why are there grenade attacks in Sweden?
Yeah, I would love to answer this question. So if we're going back to guns and the U.S. versus Canada, when I said that there's a G20, if we look at all the G20 countries, the United States disproportionately by ratio of the population has way more gun deaths, way more gun violence, and a lot of that gun violence, by the way, is people killing themselves. Just so we're completely clear.
Yeah.
But if you look at it in the framework of Canada has a very different set of rules for firearms than the United States does. You can still have a firearm in Canada. You just have to take a 2-day course and you get a license and then you get gun training and then you have the ability to buy guns. And that way, everyone has a license. They know how to use firearms properly.
Wait, hold on. Is that true? I thought that they banned the sale of pistols in Canada now. I thought you couldn't even buy one anymore. Am I wrong on that? Also, the restrictions that you guys have on any guns that are fun around Canada are insane. I don't think you're allowed to carry one in the car when you drive anywhere. Like if you're driving and a police officer pulls you over and there's a firearm in your car, you have to be like driving like to or from like a legally designated range or else they can take your shit and like, yeah, fuck all that shit.
They're not just going to be running around the streets, pointing them, and then all that kind of shit. And you could also control for that.
But that's not what's happening in the United States. Like people just running around randomly. Like
no, I'm not saying that it is. But I'm saying that is in my opinion that is a better system. I'm not trying to take your guns away. Hell no. I think guns are fun. We all love shooting guns. I like having a second penis. I'm just saying that like at the end of the day, if you look at how it works with Canada, this could be applied to the United States federally. You could have a federal program where you have to have a 2-day gun training program. You tax the gun producers and the weapons manufacturers, and then you get them to pay for it, so poor people could afford this program.
Right, but you can't do that because gun ownership is a constitutional right.
Let's compare ourselves to all the tiniest/whitest Euro countries. Seems like it supports our arguments. Yeah, when I think of tiny white countries, I'm definitely thinking of like Germany and France and the United Kingdom. Some of the smallest. I mean, what is the population of Germany? I think it's like 2 million white people. I think France is around 1.5 million white people, and the UK is, I think, what, a couple million white people? True, dude. Based argument. Italy, Portugal, Greece, Spain, all like very, very, very tiny countries that are exclusively white people. Kill yourself, you fucking retard.
Or I should say, gun ownership is a human right. Guaranteed, protected against government infringement.
I'm all about training in schools. I think the public schools should have gun training for kids.
Like they used to.
Yeah.
Gun clubs.
I would highly advocate for more training, but you're just suggesting that you can't force it on people?
The Constitution, clearly, and according to the writings of the Founding Fathers and to, I think, Heller versus D.C., gun ownership is a human right, and the Constitution protects against government infringement of that right. That being said, we got the NFA, we got the updates to the NFA in the 80s, so certainly gun rights have been infringed to an absurd degree.
You remember the 1984 New York subway shooting? Back then I was a -4 years old, so I don't remember it very much, but...
You know what? Not to mention, back in the days when they codified the Constitution, people owned warships privately, and Halliburton, Northrop Grumman. Well, I shouldn't say Halliburton; they're a construction thing. But Northrop Grumman, Boeing, etc.
Lockheed.
These companies are private companies that build nuclear weapons. So we basically where we're at right now is that private corporations with no accountability can have the most powerful weapons of mass destruction in the world, but them and the government, and like so it doesn't follow. Either the people have the power or they don't have the power, right? We've abdicated it to corrupt organizations.
And corporations are not people.
Right.
Let's be clear. This regarding this dude that choked the guy out, I think what's going to come up is was it adequate force or was it too much? And I feel like if he had punched the guy directly in the face, that would have been worse. Because although, if they got into a fist fight, because he could have fallen backward and hit his head. At least he was in control of the guy's body.
I mean, okay.
It's really sad that the guy died, but I feel like this was like a very low level of...
I think that you have to get really unlucky to punch somebody in the face and kill them. You could, but you have to get really unlucky. Killing somebody with a choke, if you're applying it for minutes at a time, probably much higher likelihood of death.
Amount of force to apply to someone that was threatening to kill people or hurt people.
Why did 3 people find it necessary to try and stop this guy?
Flailing and kicking and screaming, who knows?
So it is hard because you mentioned there's no footage prior, but something happened that resulted in 3 New York people who are likely not conservative to decide this man must be subdued.
Yeah.
3 people. Yeah. So when it comes to the idea of proportionality, I'm like, if 3 New Yorkers of all people were like, this guy's got to be stopped, that's kind of crazy to me because look, I'm a gun nut, right? My view is people have a right to defend themselves with a lot more force than people in New York do. But if people in New York felt they had to stop him, these people, I doubt these guys are conservative. There's like no conservatives live in New York. It's like 20% Republican, and if they're Republican, they're probably moderate right. Something must have happened. But I don't even need to sit here and say what could have or what must have. What we know, what we choose to believe, based on what the police, the media, and the witnesses have said, is that this guy was threatening people with violence.
I'm just banning retarded shit. It's not as unlikely as you think. If you punch someone, knock them out, they fall on pavement, it's not even, you're just fucking retarded. Get out of here with this stupid shit. Oh, punching someone is a high chance. It's probably like a 0.00001% chance. Yeah, could you kill somebody by punching them? Sure. But when you say it's not as unlikely as you think, what are you arguing? 10% of people die from getting punched in the face? 20% of people die from getting punched in the face? What are you arguing, you fucking retard? Well, yeah, you can kill somebody through a lot of different ways, okay? Somebody could trip and fall and die, okay? What if he was Goku? Jesus Christ. You're more often than not, 99.99% of the time, you're not killing somebody. Even by knocking them out with a punch, you're not killing somebody, okay? Jesus, like, where do these actuallys come from? Oh my God.
And said he was prepared to lose his life over it. Three men then said this man must be subdued, and they subdued him. And then the guy died.
Destiny is so wrong on this one. Punches are so much more deadly than chokes. First of all, one punch is probably not as might be more deadly than a 5-second choke, but one punch is probably never going to be as deadly as a 5-minute choke. Like, one guy, man. Yeah, true.
Which sucks. It's unfortunate.
Did he get a cause of death?
It was a compression of the neck. Yeah, homicide.
So you've got a massive platform here. A lot of people watch you all the time. And so what you say, obviously, and advocate for is going to affect a lot of people's lives. If this is a problem that genuinely concerns you, why isn't it something that you would frame and want to advocate for more resources for mental health access and bring that up on a regular basis? And I'm not saying, and I'm sure, okay, hold on, Tim. I'm sure you've done it before. I'm sure you've had specials before. I'm what?
We do it a lot.
Okay. Why isn't that the focus? Why isn't today, hey, by the way, everybody, this horrifying tragedy happened on the New York subway. We got to talk about this. Yeah. Here's our angle. Our angle is we need to invest in mental health. We need to invest in giving access to public health care for Americans.
First of all, when it comes to the issue of violence in this country, conservatives have been screaming about mental health for decades.
Reagan is one of the ones that like guided the institutions in America.
Yeah, Reagan's one of the worst presidents this country's ever had. No fault divorce. How about that?
Yeah,
gun control. Yeah. I don't know why Republicans like that guy.
The reason that they like him is because of the way that he stood up to communism. But I totally agree that he had a lot of really bad policies, and I'm not a stan.
But conservatives have taken the stance of gun violence and mass shootings is an issue of mental health, and then the left takes the opposing.
But do they invest in that? Do they vote for it?
Well, of course not. The Republican Party's garbage.
When I look at the votes of the Republican Party, they're not voting for amendments that are actually going to like give people more access to mental health.
But that's where you have an opportunity. But you don't want to come onto a show where we say the Democratic and Republican Party should be dismantled and obliterated, and then make an argument that one side is bad. I'll sit here and be like, bro, if you want to have make a list of every single member of Congress who should be removed from office, I will put all of them but like 4.
Okay, I don't care. I'm good. All right, I'm gonna go work out.
What's going on? How you guys doing? We love landlords. We're all against unions. We're here to protest against the landlords and the unions. We love them. Can we do like a quick shake on the hand? We love landlords. Look. We love landlords. We love landlords. We love them a lot. We're all against unions. They're not fair to the corporate companies. This is a crazy protest.
Anyway, as I was saying,
landlords, we love them a lot.
We're waiting for.
We're waiting for the landlords to come.
Oh, there you are. Thank you.
See if you see a Nissan.
No, I can. It's a public place. I can show the sign. Yeah, I will be showing the sign. You guys like landlords?
We'll probably leave if that's the case. I don't want to.
I don't know. I feel like that kid is cringe as fuck. But okay. All right, I'm gonna go work out. Tomorrow we're gonna finish our self-defense thing, and we're gonna start digging into Grace's family. Okay. We're gonna free her siblings. I love you guys. Be careful. Work out.